Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our Ring of Honor show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's go right into it. Our first match of the night is QT Marshall versus Tommaso Ciampa. Now if you guys don't know the backstory, QT Marshall basically pushed Tommaso out of it, injured his knee, and then R.D. Evans went from Tommaso to QT. Basically, he took over his spot. This is a revenge match. For a revenge match, it was a lot more competitive than I expected it to be. Tommaso Ciampa is an absolute beast. He's a superstar in the making, ready to break out at any point in time. QT Marshall looked really good wrestling him. I thought this was a solid opening match. Good stuff. You had Prince Nana coming back and staying on the stage. Whether he's going to... Now, he has beef as well with QT Marshall and R.D. Evans, so maybe he realigns himself with Tommaso, or maybe he brings out somebody to fight them all. In the end, Tommaso gets his revenge on R.D. Evans with the Project Ciampa. A good, solid opening match. Had me hyped and ready to go. Now, our next match of the night was Nick Merriman in his first match at Ring of Honor versus Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett attacks before the match, hits his box office smash or whatever he calls it. It's basically a sit-out version of the Rock Bottom. It was just that. It was a squash match. He hit him with two moves, finished it. There was more to it though, because he went to the mic, talked about he's getting movie offers, record deal offers, contract offers from every company in wrestling. He calls in Cheeseburger, who is part of the ring crew, one of the students at the Ring of Honor dojo, and it's wrestled a few matches here and there for them. And apparently, if you guys remember, about a month or two back, he kissed Maria Kanellis, who's Mike Bennett's valet / real life girlfriend. Calls him up. They had a match a couple weeks back. He says to him, Cheeseburger, you've earned my respect. I'm going to give you this Ring of Honor contract. Cheeseburger comes in. He said, well, let me give you the pen. As he's giving him the pen, Cheeseburger looks at the contract, gets super kicked in the face. Then he begins to destroy Cheeseburger, mounts him and starts pummeling him. Brutal Bob Evans pulls him off. At that point, Bob takes a beat down as well, which he gets back on the mic and says, I'm no longer the prodigy, and walks away. The commentary team, Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino, hyped this as maybe Maria's getting into his ear. So maybe we'll see some changes in the Mike Bennett character, maybe more vicious side instead of a cocky side. Who knows? Speaking of vicious, we had Jay Briscoe come out and cut a promo. Now I remember folks that the TV shows are taped weeks ahead of time, so this was a few weeks back that they actually recorded this. Talk about he's going to be able to defend his title against Matt Hardy, which we'll see next week. It's a decent little promo, real short, sweet, right to the point. We get right into our main event of the night, which is a CNC Wrestle Factory, Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander versus Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. The more Fish and O'Reilly tag together, the more they're becoming just one unit. I mean, they remind me so much of some of the great teams that have not only been through Ring of Honor, but been through all of wrestling. They remind me of course, of the team they're kind of modeled after, the American Wolves, the Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, these guys are amazing. They work together so well, so crisp, almost like a new generation version of the Eliminators. And if you guys know me, that's a high compliment, because the Eliminators are one of my favorite tag teams. I think they're highly underrated in history. They didn't stay together long, but when they were awesome together. And Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander are no slouches either. To me, though, for one reason or another, they seem to be made into kind of the good enough to face the good teams, but not good enough to beat the good teams team, if you know what I mean. Kind of like a high card jobber. Like, they'll beat the lower level guys. They'll beat, and I don't mean it like lower level bad. Like, they'll beat a team like Adrenaline Rush or QT Marshall and Tommaso Ciampa, but they can't beat guys like the Briscoes, or they actually did beat the Briscoes, but not for the title. Or they can't beat Red Dragon, you know, the American Wolves. I'm kind of hoping Coleman and Alexander, they push him to the top and let him get a title run. I kind of feel bad for them losing all the high-profile matches and giving solid efforts in every one. I mean, these guys are awesome together. They're a great tag team. Red Dragon's a great tag team as well. But everybody should get their turn, and I think Coleman and Alexander will eventually. Red Dragon wins with the combination kick to the head, brainbuster. They call it Chasing the Dragon. Hell of a name for a move. Hell of a move. And like I said before, man, what can I not say about these two? These two are absolutely amazing. Hopefully, as we go forward, they get to see more and more of a focal point. We get to see these guys, you know, more as a tag team and even as singles. Bobby Fish is a guy that's been bouncing around for about 10 years or so. And he's absolutely amazing in the ring. Kyle O'Reilly, he's only been wrestling a few years, but from what I've seen, he's picking it up quickly, and he's going to be a superstar at some point. And this might be the jumping off point for these two guys. I mean, I think they're absolutely awesome. One of the best tag teams in wrestling right now. But that was the main event. Red Dragon picks up the win. So let's go right into our rating system, guys. Now, if you've seen the show before, you know we rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm going to give this show a solid 3. There's a couple things that were... The tag match was awesome. The opening match was awesome. Jay Briscoe, I could have lived without. They could have done that at a backstage part of the Ring of Honor, whatever they call it, when they do their little interviews. The squash match I could have lived without. Destroying Cheeseburger I could have lived without. The whole... Not that I dislike Mike Bennett, but the whole Mike Bennett segment kind of put a damper on this, in my opinion. When you only got an hour of time, you shouldn't have a squash match on the show. Every match should be competitive. That's just my opinion. Especially for a guy that's already been well established in the company like Mike Bennett. I mean, if it was a new guy coming in, someone we've never seen in Ring of Honor, and they had a squash match, I'd be more okay with it, but not what it was. Basically, him destroying two people is kind of what... 3 if you count Brutal Bob. Put the damper on the show to me. I mean, Red Dragon and CNC was awesome. QT Marshall versus Tommaso Ciampa was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But basically, that's all I really got to say about this show. Just keep supporting Ring of Honor. Watch Ring of Honor. Look for it. I know it's hard to find for some people, but trust me, give it a shot. Try and find it. You're going to like what you see. And basically, that's all I got for this. My name is George Coles, and it's been another episode of Heel Heat.